Hey guys, good evening. Welcome everyone to our discussion today. I hope I'm pretty much audible as well as visible. So just drop a text like a hi or a hello in the chat if I'm audible to you guys. And as part of our today's agenda, I will be doing an NLP Live Demo. Right, so this has been long pending. So we were supposed to finish this last week itself, but due to some situation, I was unavailable during the schedule, and we had to postpone this to this week. Uh, right. So we'll be doing the live demo today. As always, guys, I'm monitoring my chat. So if anybody has any concerns, any doubts, do let me know in the chat. So we'll take up those. But again, as part of today's agenda, we'll be doing the problem statement from scratch. So I'll be in fact loading up an external file, and then we'll see what all we do to build up an NLP problem. So because we have not covered any machine learning part, right? So I will not actually develop a machine learning model for you, but if you want, I can still do that. That's not a major problem. I hardly 10 lines of code, man. So this is an extension for our work which we'll be doing. But again, for any problem statements, right? Be it NLP or for any problem statement. So because we have seen how AI, machine learning, deep learning, they're all connected, right? So in this part, we'll be seeing how we prepare the data, right? So NLP basically how we process the natural language, which is nothing but a text, right? In this case, so how we process it. So basically how we prepare the text so that the machine can understand it. So we have learned a lot of techniques, right? Tokenization, vectorization, a lot of techniques. We have learned that, right? So we'll be actually doing all those only, but now we'll be seeing how to connect the dots, right? So how we can actually solve a problem from scratch. So that's what we'll be doing today. So that's part of our agenda. So we have our problem statement defined. We have the data with us. So I'll be loading up the data and then try to and start solving it from scratch. Okay. As always, guys, I will always encourage to stop me in between if you have any concerns, any doubts over any concept, right? So any point of time, if I'm not, you're not able to clear yourself, do stop me in between. So there's no point of me keep on talking, right? So do stop me in between if you have any concerns. So as always, before starting, let's have a quick round of introduction. So my name is Arpit Jain, and I'm a senior data scientist myself. I have almost 9 years of industry experience. Along with that, I'm also a motivational speaker. So I talk to students, I take career mentorships, I take industry sessions. So if you have any concerns regarding data science, regarding job, regarding career, do put up your question in the chat, guys. So let's take that. So we can take it as it comes. Also, as part of our subjects, as part of our playlist agenda, so we'll be talking about Python, SQL, data science. Python, we have already started about a couple of months back. So we are pretty much have covered a lot of things. Now we are also solving the competitive programming interview questions for Python from Lead Code, HackerRank. So we are solving a lot of questions online live. And also on SQL, we have covered the concepts, the things which we wanted to see as part of the theory part. We have seen that long back, and now again in SQL, we are solving as many questions as we can, right? So again, for the competitive programming, we are trying to solve the questions from the lead code, the practice problems, and then we'll jump to the contests also. We'll do that. Right, and then data science, we finished visualizations, and now we are into NLP. Today, we're gonna finish the live demo, so we'll do the live demo. And then post that, I was thinking to introduce the live chatbots, maybe something on we call as Rasa. So I'll try to introduce you maybe the next month's schedule, new year. Right. So that part of our agenda. Again, before proceeding further, right? So guys, it's a it's a mandatory promotion which I have to do. So you have a code right in front of your screen, which is Python 10, right? So with this Python 10 code, you can get a free Relevel bonus sample test paper, right? So guys, please bear with me for this. So what is Relevel? So many a times candidates do miss out on the great opportunities due to multiple reasons. So it could be like don't have a better degree. That means not having a degree from a tier A universities, or they don't have the right set of networking. So they have a poor networking. So that means that you don't know the right set of people to ask for referrals, and you don't know the right timings of the new openings from the companies. Right? That's again very important. And also the resumes with which you're applying is not really standing out from 100 other applicants for the same job. So it could be some internal issue to your resume, some keywords might be missing, or something which is totally beyond your control, right? So it could be that. And also you're applying to n number of jobs, like 50 or 60 or maybe 100, 200 jobs, still you're not getting even a single interview call. Very practical problem, I would say. Almost everybody faces this, and to cater this only, Relevel has been introduced. It's India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping you to get your dream job, right? So here you're purely based off your skills and talent. So you're not dependent on any sort of degree or any people networking to get your job here, right? So how does it work? It's more of a testing platform. So it's like you'll be asked to go through an assessment, like more of a test, right? And if you're skilled enough, if you're knowledgeable enough, you would be getting the good score, right, in those tests. And that is purely on your knowledge, right? And then based on that score only, the companies will start reaching out to you. It's more of a vice versa situation here, right? So you have to have the right set of knowledge to get the best score, and that is the only expectation from you, right? So post that, the companies will start reaching out to you because internally they have the tie-ups from Relevel platform. They'll be shared with your score, and based on your score, they'll be reaching out to you. Cool. So there are certain other benefits also involved if you participate in the Relevel testing platform. Those include over 50 plus companies, including the top startups and even the unicorns. They hire directly from the Relevel platform. And these include ENY, Upgrad, Cred, Razorpay, Urban Company, and many more. And they have the direct tie-ups from the Relevel. Also, at least 1,000 plus open job positions across three different portfolios right now: business development, front end development, and the back end development. Right, so multiple sub roles also available within these. The good thing is, guys, this is actually completely online based platform, so you are not supposed to be physically present anywhere to attempt this test. So you can take this from the comfort of your home, like wherever you are, right? And also the best part is, guys, this is completely free, so you're not paying even a single penny to be part of this test, to attempt this test. You can take this for completely free, and the only expectation here is you have to finish that test in a single day's time. Okay, and that day could be of your choice. And the Relevel scores will be revealed within a week's time post your test, right? And as I said, since it's an assessment, there is a qualifying score as well. So you have to score at least 70% of the marks to make your Relevel profile, right? And but in any unfortunate situation, if you are unable to get 70% marks, you can always reattempt the test, but that can happen only after I would say 30 days of your first attempt, right? So be mindful of that. So and also there are certain goodies involved. So if you are one of the top scorers in any particular category in a month, right? So you will be awarded with some exciting goodies like MacBook, iPhone, and all that. So definitely that's another charm for you. So with this Relevel, guys, you are in a unique position to invite interest from the companies instead of you hunting for your own opportunities, right? So it's more like once you have given the test, just sit back and relax. The companies will start reaching out to you depending on your score. Totally. So registration is also quite relevantly easy on the platform. So link is there in the description. So once you go through the link, the very first thing would be asked from you is to select the test of your choice. So there are three options right now: business, front end, the back end development. Multiple sub roles like the relationship manager, customer engagement associate in the business development, front end developer, Angular developer, web developer in front end, software engineer, data engineer, and all that in back end. So depending on your role and interest, you can always choose a test of your choice. The next would be the timing. So you can select the date of your choice. So there are multiple dates. So depending, the slots are limited. It's a beta platform, so I would suggest you to book it fast depending on your availability. The last would be to fill up your demographics, like the full name, email ID, birth year, state, along with your gender. And at last, you have an option of a promo code. So in this promo code, you can always use Python 10. So if you're going to use the code Python 10, that's gonna unlock you a bonus sample test paper. So do not forget to use the code Python 10 here, guys. Cool. So once you've used the code Python 10, that's how the practice dashboard tab should look like for you. So you have an option of a practice here. So in this, you can see the sample paper. You can always download this paper and just prepare for your D-Day. So the question sets will be the replica of what you can expect in the real examination. So you can always be ready with the actual questions. So with this, guys, I would say that registration on Relevel is quite easy. Please do register yourself today, because anyway, it's completely free, right? So you're not paying even a single penny to attempt this test anyway. So, I mean, you can, if you feel that you're not getting benefited out of it, you can always take your decisions elsewise later. But at least you can try it for once. Right, so with this, guys, we have an official Telegram channel also. So the link is again there in the YouTube description. So do join this channel. So that's a one place stop for all of your queries, for all of your upcoming schedules. So you will not be running around here and there for your stuff. So that's gonna be easy for you, right? So again, with this, guys, I will always recommend, if you feel that you're getting benefited, so do like and share the video. So that's the least which we can expect from you. So please do like, share in the video. So with this, guys, we are into our final session today, so of NLP Live Demo. So let's see how it goes. So I'm gonna load up some data and then let's start solving the problem. Right. So meanwhile, guys, as always, I have suggested, if anybody has any questions, so do not stick behind. Do not just keep waiting for me. Just shoot your questions and we can take that. So let me know if my screen is visible. Looks like my screen is visible. Yeah. So okay, so now I'll be doing some live demo on the use case. So what I'll be doing is I'll be loading up some data. So I'll be loading up some file which we have. So it's a very common file. So and then we'll be doing all the analysis, all the work which we have seen as part of the concepts during our learning process on NLP. And then we'll try to apply whatever we have learned and prepare the data, process the data for our machine learning modeling, right? So see, generally, I have written some certain very standard libraries which are generally used for any data science problems. Okay, so I have segregated it into 4 different sections. You can see this. So this is my first section. Okay, this is my second section, the third and the fourth, right? So here you can see this is a more of a generic library, the first set coming to are my pandas, numpy, strings, os. So very generic library. So I have a list of certain libraries which I generally import whenever I start working. So because there are certain sections of work which you perform, right? So like the data analysis, data visualization, specific to a particular module, like we are working on NLP here, right? So we'll be loading up the NLP modules, right? So like NLTK, that's what we have learned about, like natural language toolkit, right? So we'll be importing those modules. So the first is my the data analysis libraries like the NumPy, pandas, and then also definitely, because for any data science problem we have to visualize the data also, right? So we always visualize, so before doing anything. So data visualization is a core concept, core part of my analysis. So I have already written some of the standard visualization techniques. So do not ask me this set style why I've written dark grid, because I've already explained it. So we have covered Seaborn, right? You remember we have covered Seaborn in a previous playlist. So please do refer to that Seaborn. So I'm gonna use the Seaborn plots which we have already covered in our last the topic which we were studying, right? So we'll be doing the visualization through Seaborns. And then also the NLP modules, the next section. So all you can see this. So I've imported NLTK, I've used the stop words, I've used the wordlet lematizer, word clouds, and then I'm going to use the count vectorizer, TF-IDF vectorizer, depending on the use. So we're going to import it as is. And at last, so once my data is prepared accordingly, right? So I'm going to have some of the scikit-learn model for my machine learning, right? So that I'll take it separately. So do not get confused by this ML model. So I've just written it I've not imported any other specific libraries. Rather, I've just added some of the few things which you generally do on NLP, like on the machine learning part, right? So I'll take it. So do not worry about this. So we'll be focusing more on these part for now, because we have not seen ML as of date, so like algorithms as of date, right? So, but again, we'll be processing the NLP data, so they were natural languages basically, right? So let's proceed, guys. So let's proceed. So okay, no, I have not imported word cloud. Let me just install word cloud. Just a minute. So okay, so I just got an error that word cloud is not installed in my system somehow. So I refresh my system. So yeah, so I think this one got uninstalled. So we'll install the word cloud. So word cloud is again a very good module, guys. So I'll show it to you. So in the visualization part, so we can see actually which of the words are very much, I would say, available, and very much the frequency is more for which word. So it's a very handy module in for natural language processing. So I'll show it to you that. Right. So again, so I've just loaded the data, but I'll show you, and then we'll do the live coding here only. But I've just written this, prepared this slide to show you what exactly we'll be doing, right? So right. So guys, see, the thing is here the NLP pipeline, right? So we have seen the data. So generally what all we do, okay? So we have a question of a spam filtration. So we have a spam.csv file which I'm going to load it through a path. I'll show it to you. Okay, so this file, again guys, see, the concept remains the same. So whatever we do in the data, I have just written those simple steps. So we have a raw text here, and then the very first thing you remember, we do the tokenization. So we'll be doing that. So on the raw text, we'll be doing the tokenization, and then the basic text cleaning where all of my punctuations, my lemmatization, and whatnot. So whatever we have studied, right? So all the text cleaning will come here. You remember? So you might have heard. So in the data science process, people are spending time in data cleaning, data wrangling, data munching. So all are synonyms. Okay, so don't get confused by these terms. All are synonyms. So basically, we are working on some data. We are preparing the data in some sort, right? So all of my text cleaning process will come here. Okay, and then at very last, remember the vectorization is my last step of NLP, right? So tokenization in between text cleaning and then my vectorization. I'll be doing some vectorization. So we have studied about count vectorizer, we studied TF-IDF vectorizer. We will try to implement both. Okay, and then after that we have the ML algorithm. So ML algorithm is actually the very last step where we're going to build up a model. But before that, all the cleaning process, all the data preparation process will come. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're gonna because we have studied till vectorization, right? So we're gonna try everything whatever we have done till vectorization. So we'll try to connect the dots, and also I'll show you the ML algorithm part also. It's very simple. It's not, so do not get fancied around that we are doing something very special. So ML algorithms is actually, implementation of ML is very easy, hardly 10 lines of code, nothing fancy in that. Okay, so do not get worried about that. It's just like you have to first understand what are the algorithms, what is the meaning of it. That will make more sense, but just to show it to you, I'll definitely show how we can implement the ML model also on top of that. Okay, so that's the agenda. Cool. Okay, hey Prince, thank you so much. Yeah, I really try to make it as helpful as possible for people, but thank you so much for appreciating that. Cool. So अभी मैंने क्या किया यार? So I have just used this module. So I'm using the pandas. Okay, so from the pandas, we have studied pandas, guys. So do not ask me that why I'm doing this and all that. So in pandas, I'm just using the model read CSV. So read CSV is actually gonna directly read the CSV file. Okay, and from this I've already defined a path where I have kept the data. Okay, I'm gonna use the module OS. So os.path.join, I'm gonna use from this path, this file. So I have this file already available with me. I have downloaded in my local system. Okay, I'm just gonna load the data. Okay, so this is how my data looks like. Can you see this? So I have a column called as V1, which is, I don't know what it is. And then I have V2. I have this is some text available here. And then I have, see, 3 more columns, unnamed 2, unnamed 3, unnamed 4. So I have just loaded the CSV file as is, and I've not done anything. And can you see, this is quite messy, right? You can actually readily see this. It's quite messy, right? And this is where the problem began, right? Because whenever you do any problem in your business, right, the data is actually quite messy. It's not simple. It's very dirty data, right? So you have to clean the data. That's what we call the processing comes, right? So that's where all of my concepts will come. So definitely I can see some text here. So I can see some text V1 here and some text V2 here. So basically I have the information in these 2 columns, and these 3 remains unnamed and so are blanks basically, right? So you can see this. So let's start. So Abhi, can somebody tell me what's coming in your mind? What's coming in your mind, guys? Do you think anything we can just quickly do on top of this? So like we have seen the dataset.head. So what I just did, I just glanced over my data. I just saw, so what head is giving me the top 5 rows basically, right? So I can also do dataset.tail. So it's gonna give me, so I'm just trying to have a look around of my data, right? I'm just trying to have a feel of my data, how it is, what it is, and all that, right? You can see I've just done tail. So basically I'm seeing the last 5 records. Again, I'm seeing the nulls here. So in the last 3 columns. So I have a hinge that maybe all of these three columns are null completely. Could be, right? So I'm just trying to understand. So just by looking at just having a glance on this data, it's making sense. Like these two V1 and V2 are like some data which I have to use, and the last three columns like unnamed 2, 3, 4 are like my missing data or some like redundant data kind of a thing. Cool. So just to check what exactly we have here, so we have a very good column. We have a very good functionalities available like data set. So like data set dot info. I can do just to sorry, I've just passed 0 by mistake. So data set. So data set dot info is gonna give me a thing like, you can see this. So it's more like giving me an introduction to my data, and then I have something called as data set dot describe. Okay, so these two are very interesting functions where I have something called as some information available, right? So now we can see this here, although my total count is 5572, but in these two columns only 50 has data. This has only 12 has data, and this one has only 6 has data, and that too some random things is coming up. So good night MK92H, right? So basically out of 5572, so I can just get the information here is, can I see this? So for example 50, so 50 out of 5572, this is my overall data, right? So basically just try to see this. Now I'm seeing that only 18 so basically not even 1% of data is available in these columns. So basically these columns are of no use to me. I cannot, so almost 99% data is missing in these three columns, right? You can see this, almost 99% data is missing in these three columns. It's totally not making any sense. I cannot do any missing value imputation on top of this. It will not make sense, right? So generally we do missing data imputation depending on the percentage we have, right? Muhammad Adnan, okay, so separator correct? Yeah, I mean, very good question. So yeah, so it's a CSV file and the separator is actually correct. So the separator here is actually comma. So that's fine, but that's a good question. Yes. So guys, in this separator, depending on our data, so this separator can actually be a space, can actually be a colon, can actually be a semicolon. So depending on your data totally. So for this, so do not worry, Adnan. So it's actually yeah, so it's actually correct. Yeah, so it's actually the data was messy. So in fact, that is the reason why this is coming up. But again, so can you see this? It's still, it's not like an empty data totally. It has some data, but most of the things are missing, right? So that is what we have. So that is giving me a sense like almost 99% data is missing from these three columns. Let's drop this. Why do we need it? Because we don't need this anyway, right? So it's not gonna give me any helpful information elsewise, right? So what we can do, we can use the basic functionality of drop. So we have data set dot drop, right? So we can obviously drop these columns. This is not needed, right? So I have here, I can give the labels. In this labels, I can pass the column names directly. So I have I have unnamed 2. So I'm gonna pass like this. So unnamed 2, then I've unnamed 3. Okay, my bad. And then I have, so just a minute, so I'm gonna write it like this. So I have to write it in the quotes because the name of my columns, and I have unnamed 2, and then I have unnamed 3, and then I have unnamed 4. Cool, guys. Any doubt in this? So I'm just gonna drop all of these columns because more than 99% data, as we have seen, is missing here, right? So I'm just gonna drop it. So again, we have we have already seen this, guys. So axis, my axis 0 is for rows, 1 is for columns. So I have to specify from which axis I want these columns to be dropped, right? Sorry. Cool. ठीक है. So ये हमने कर दिया. अब एक बार quickly data set को देख लेते हैं. Data set dot head. So now, yeah, my bad. So data set dot head. So now I have dropped those three columns, which we saw that the data is majorly missing there, right? So now I'm left with these two columns, V1 and V2. Okay. So now here you can see this the actual text, my messages is in V2 column. I could see that. I could see it from here, right? And the classification and the class of those messages are actually here. So I have ham and spam. So ham is like the normal messages and spam is like my spam messages, right? So basically this is my message class V1. I could see that we have ham and spam here, and this is actually the message here. Is it making sense, guys? Is it actually, you are able to understand this? So we can actually rename the columns V1 to maybe say label, and then V2 to maybe the message, right? So the actual message. So that will be more clearer to us, right? So I can do that. So I'm just going to rename the columns now. So data set dot columns. Yeah, spelling is columns is equal to. So I have my columns, and I'm going to give this as label, and then I'm going to give this as message. Cool. So now let's see that. So I have data set dot head. I have this data. My bad. Cool. So now this is renamed to label and message. Much clearer now. Now I'm able to get what my data is, right? अभी तक हमने NLP का काम start नहीं किया guys, right? I'm just looking at the data. I'm just trying to do some things on top of that, right? अब हम इसके ऊपर कुछ अब हम इसके बाद हम exploratory डेटा एनालिसिस स्टार्ट करेंगे. सो बेसिकली बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट कीवर्ड है, आपने सुना होगा EDA. सो यू माइट हैव हर्ड दिस इन योर इंटरव्यूज एंड इन योर somebody asking about what did you do in your EDA. So that's basically your exploratory data analysis, right? So what do you do in your EDA? So you try to get a feel of your data, right? So you try to do some analysis on top of it. So analysis में हम क्या क्या कर सकते हैं? So I mean, it can go in any direction, right? So it's just because how you think about the data. So let's again do the basic things. So let's start. So we have dataset.info. It's a very basic command. So this is gonna give you the feel of your data. Again, we have already seen that. So right. So here you can see this. I have these two labels now, label and message, where total are 5, 5, 7, 2 column, all are non-null, and object type is the data type is object. So these are all text concept object type data type, right? Again, I can do data set dot describe. It's gonna give me the frequencies, the top, the uniques, and all that. So I have total 5, 5, 7, 2 counts. Total uniques are 2. So I have two classes here, ham and spam. My frequency is this. So total, so this basically data is, so I can see this out of 5572, 4825 are ham. So they're my normal messages, right? So that's all. And also I could see that sorry, I'll call later is the top frequency. Like out of 5572, this message got repeated 30 times. I can see this. Okay, so very basic intro to your data. So what all inferences you got? So always have a practice of writing the inferences, right? So what did you see here? So I have two unique classes, two unique labels, which is ham and spam, right? And then I have what? So I have ham has 4825 records out of 5572. So roughly I would say 85% roughly. So that's roughly 85% data is towards my normal records, okay, and 15% is my what to say, spam, right? So that's my two interesting inferences which I have got. Now let's try to do that. So now we can actually go a bit deep. So we can try to see against for each of my say labels, like say ham or spam. We can actually try to find out what are my descriptions. So maybe now we'll go deep in this, specifically in the column label. So let's take a group by on this label and let's try to describe it. So for example, we can do this, right? So we have data set dot we can do group by, and group by on top of what we can do label, and on this group by we can do describe, right? So we can do this describe. So and then we can do the T here, so we can see this better. So now here, see this. So I have my labels here, and then I have ham and spam separately, right? So I can see this. So out of total count of my ham is 4825, where 4516 are my actual the unique values. This is the most repeated value. Sorry, I'll call later. The frequency is 30, and out of 747 spam. So please call our customer service representative. Looks like this. So I have the highest frequency of 4, right? So again, guys, I'm just trying to have a look and feel of my data, right? So always, again, have a practice of finding out certain inferences from this. So what we understood here, so 4825 ham records. And then what we see, we have 747 spam records, right? And then we have the sorry wala jo hai, basically that is most frequent in spam, ham with 30 records. Likewise, try to have some certain inferences. Try to see how my data is, right? So this is not for fun. You're not doing just because somebody else has told you to write this code. No, अगर उसके बाद run करने के बाद क्या मिला हमें, right? Try to have a feel of that, right? It's just because आपको describe run करना, it's not you're not a machine, right? You're not just running the code. Try to write this code and try to infer it, try to read it, because that's where the difference between you and a machine comes. Can you, because see, writing a code can any day well be automated, right? I can just write a script, I can ask a machine to run it in a loop, it can happily do it, right? But machine can only give me this result. To take an action on top of this result, that machine cannot do. I have to tell the machine to actually take a decision on top of that, right? That is where the human intelligence comes. So be a human, not a machine. Try to understand what you have written. Although this function is very simple, I've just done the describe on top of that, right? But try to have a feel of this information. This is something which is very important, guys, right? So do not miss out on this part. Okay? ठीक है? So अब एक काम करते हैं, अब हम इसमें क्या क्या कर सकते हैं? Just try to understand what all we can do. So what all we can do? अभी जो मैं ये देख पा रहा हूँ, so guys, just try to think about the problem. So अब क्या क्या exploratory data analysis कर सकते हो और क्या देख सकते हो इसमें आपको और क्या समझ में आ रहा है? मुझे भी इसमें एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज ये दिख रही है यार, डेटा सेट है ना यार, मुझे भी दिख रही है. अब suppose we have certain the characters here, right? Can't we just see how many characters are available in these, right? So we can see, right? So for each records, how many characters are there? What are the number? What is the length of my message, right? We can do that, and then based on that length, we can find out, okay, what is the difference between the length of my ham and the spam messages? So that's where your innovation comes, right? So that's where how you can think of the problem. Let's do that. So let's try to add another column maybe, and let's try to see what are different the length of my messages. So we can do like that. So we have a data set. So I'm just writing on my headers here. So adding length of my messages. So that's one of my EDAs, right? So we can do that. So we have data set. See, again, nobody is asking me to do this. So do not ask me a question that what all I'm supposed to do in EDA. So EDA is your exploratory analysis, right? So agar aap kuch apna kaam, exploratory is your work, right? So you cannot just, there are certain things which you always check, like certain missing values and all that. So there are certain standard things which you generally check, but again, it's your perception, brother. Okay, so it's your perception, guys, right? So you have to understand, depending on your knowledge, depending on your interest, depending on your work, you can go in any direction. So this exploratory data analysis can even be for 1 hour and can even be for 10 days, right? So depending on your in-depth, whatever you want to do with this data. So it's as simple as that. But again, so I mean, just by this looking at the data, I'm just thinking that maybe we can apply and see how many characters are there. Right? What is the length of my message? We can do that. So let's do it. Let's see what is that angle. So we're gonna just add one more column. So say length, for example, right? So where exactly I'm gonna find out what is the length of my messages, right? So I have data set, and the data set column name is what? Message. So on this message, I'm gonna apply the function length. So from where we can actually get the length of my messages, right? So I can do that. So it's totally possible. So here I have already done. So let's do, so data set dot head. Let's do that again. So now, can you see this? Against all of my text, I have my lengths here, right? So now, again, let's do this. So let's again do this. So we can do it. Let's try to see how my things are behaving on top of this. So now, can you see this? I have my lengths here, right? So I have my count. So actually the mean of my lengths for ham and spam are different. Okay, interesting. So what I've observed is, generally the spam messages are longer, right? So very good inference here is spam messages in general are longer, right? So I just observed this from here. Can you see this? So the mean of my normal messages is way lesser. It's like almost the half of my spam messages, right? And also, but yes, the very good thing is the standard deviation of my ham messages are way higher. So because here you can see this, my the minimum value is 2, 25th percentile is 33, and 50th is 52, and the 75th is 92, right? So the the values, the ranges of the values are way higher. But on the other case, can you see this? Although my minimum is 13, but my 25th, 50th and 75th percentile value are close by, are nearer. So 132, 149 and 157, right, are very close by value. So the spread is not much. Although the data is queued, I can see that the minimum value is lower, but the data is again confined in a smaller region. So it's not being spread out. So that is the reason why my standard deviation is not more, right? But the standard deviation of ham is way higher because the data is spread out. So my minimum is 2, maximum is, okay, we'll come to maximum later. So 25th, 75th, 30th, and 50th and 75th value are actually being spread out. So the differences are more, right? So relative differences are more. And also we have an outliers, definitely. So the maximum is 910, which is very, very high. So we have a very, very high value in ham, right? So that's how we can get a look and feel of my data, right? So again, certain inferences, you just try to add the pointers, whatever we have discussed. So all of your inferences will come here. So always try to have a certain, basically your perception of data. So always have a note of this. So this notebook is for your notes, right? So once you have done your something, try to have a note of your work, right? So if we have a function of a markdown, you know what is markdown, right? So you can always convert this cell into a markdown and just try adding your notes here, right? So like you can add some bullets like this. So if you just put a star, it's going to add a bullet point like this, right? So just try to have a note of your work, right? So that I'll always recommend you. So you can always just use a code, do to code, or just select a cell and go to markdown. You can always convert into markdown and just try adding a note, right? So that's a very beautiful feature of your Jupyter notebook, right? So always use that. So try to have your notes handy, and because you'll always forget it, right? So yes, absolutely, word count can help. Why cannot? So this can be one of the feature which you can give for your machine learning model, right? So because it's again a number, and you have observed that definitely there is a distinctive feature between my ham and spam word counts, right? So ham generally shorter ranges के हैं, spam का range थोड़ा ज़्यादा है, number of length ज़्यादा है, word count ज़्यादा है, right? Characters ज़्यादा है basically. So yes, this can be one of the feature. This can be very much useful for my model. So this could be very, very good feature for my model. In fact, so once I start building up my machine learning model, right? So this could be a very good feature. Why not? We call this as feature engineering. So there is a term called as feature engineering in data science whenever you build up a model, right? So feature engineering means you're creating a new column, creating a new variable altogether from the existing data you have, which can have a potential impact to your machine learning model building process, right? So this length, which is a feature engineered column, so this was not present earlier, right? I created this column from the existing information which I have. So I have this information message. From this, I created this column length, right? This is a feature engineered variable for me. So I can use this variable very much for my purpose. So again, this will come with practice, guys. So generally, right, so whenever we have any data problem, whenever we have NLP problem, right? So the very first thing which I do is taking out the length. Trust me, it's a very important feature. And this will come with practice. This will come with experience, right? So do not worry about that. So because once you start your career, right, so you might not be knowing क्या करना है और क्या कर सकते हैं और क्या कर सकते हैं. So this question will always come. So this is where your Google is your best friend. So always try to Google, always try to find out, look the work of some other people and try to find out what else can you do. Always, it's not a bad thing to take a reference from somebody else, but you have to give a credit to that person, right? So do not take it as your own subject. So give a credit and then start working on that. There's no problem in that, because every day you learn. Even I learn every day, right? So do not hesitate on doing that. Cool. So ये तो अभी हमने क्या करा, हमने लेंथ निकाला, राइट? और क्या कर सकते हैं? कोई और बता सकते हैं और क्या कर सकते हैं? अभी हम इसमें क्या कर सकते हैं? मुझे जो एक समझ में आ रहा है, वी कैन ऑल्सो, जैसे हमने देखा था डिस्क्राइब में, आई सॉ दैट दिस समथिंग कॉल्ड सॉरी आई कॉल लेटर व्हिच गॉट डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड 30 टाइम्स, which got repeated 30 times, right? So maybe we can try to find out maybe some say top 5 ham or spam messages, right? So top 5 ham or spam messages, and try to use this somehow. We'll see how we can use it, but we can always analyze this, right? So there's no problem in analyzing it, right? So how we can do that? Or maybe we can just check, we can just give. So what is, for all of my unique variables, what is the count of my, the repetitions, right? We can always do that. So again हमारे पास pandas में एक function है, आपको पता होगा, pandas dot value counts हमने already पढ़ा हुआ है ना. So we have a function called as value counts, right? So we can use value counts. So basically for each of my row I'm gonna get the count of my values, right? So now look at this. So I have that the data set, and the column is like message, right? So now, okay, so now what is my data? So data set is now this, right? So data set is now this. So data set may I have the column call is message. So in this message I'm going to apply the value underscore counts, right? So I'm going to apply value underscore count. Look at this. So I have for each of my things. So, okay, so now let's convert this. So so basically I can add this into my, so I'm gonna do a rename of my access, right? So I'm gonna add it to my data directly, so data frame directly. So rename access, I'm gonna call this the message as my access, and then I'm gonna reset the index, and then the reset index may I'm gonna call name as say counts. Yeah, so count is fine, and then yeah, so that should be my data. Look at this. So I have the messages and the counts here. So all of my respective counts of my messages has come. So if I have to find out the top 5, maybe I can just do say head. I'm gonna have it here. So this is how I can have the top 3 and top 5 or whatever I want to find out. So I can always do that. Making sense, guys? You're understanding what I'm trying to do. So I'm just trying to have a feel of my data. Okay, I'm not doing anything. So can you see this message okay, only okay with 3 dots got repeated 10 times. So in this message, got it? अभी इसमें मैंने क्या करा हुआ है, मैंने ओवरऑल मैसेज का लिया हुआ है. आई कैन डू अ ग्रुप बाय. नेक्स्ट में क्या कर सकता हूं, नेक्स्ट आई कैन टेक अ ग्रुप बाय ऑन दिस एंड check for individually, check individually for spam and ham. We can do that. That is also very much possible. We can do that, है ना? But I think अब इसमें डिटेलिंग में नहीं घुसते हैं, है ना? So there is no end of data analysis, right? So there is no limit, there is no end to data analysis, guys. Okay, so I've just given you few picture of what all we can do, right? But again, I'm just gonna I mean, I'm not gonna go very deep in this because we can spend another 3-4 hours into an analysis, right? So I just showed you the beauty of analysis. So we can go in any direction, right? So we can try to find out any interesting thing and we can just try to apply this to our data. So howsoever is possible. So now I think we are done with our first step. So let's stop for the data analysis part. Let's proceed with the data visualization. Now let's try to see how we can actually do some data visualization, right? So let's try to plot something. So we have done the analysis work, right? So let's try to plot the same thing and how things look like. चलो एक काम करते हैं, labels को ही plot करते हैं. So let's try to, we have the 2 labels, right? So we have spam and ham. So spam and ham को let's try to see how the distribution is. Maybe we can see now we have this spam and ham. So we can plot a bar graph. So we can just see how many numbers of spam, how many numbers of ham is, and then maybe we can draw a pie chart. So we can draw a pie chart also. So where you know what a pie chart is, right? So we can draw, because we have 2 classes, we can identify how many hams and how many spams are there. So let's draw a simple pie chart. So we can do that. So we have data set and then we have label. So we have label. So label data set here. So we have the label. So in this label we have the value. We're gonna do the value counts of my label. So we have my sorry, I think there is some issue in my system is getting stuck. Yeah, so we have the value counts of my label. So I have my ham and I have my spam here, right? So now on this I'm gonna plot. So I'm gonna just do a plot. So I'm gonna do a plot of my this data. I'm gonna do a kind of say pie. I'm gonna write a pie here. right? So and then what I can do, so there are a lot of things which I can add actually on top of this as my variable. So let's add a fixed size also. We can add a figure size. So figure size maybe I can just give as say 6,6, so that should be good. And then this is my plot. So this, for this plot I can also add the title. So I can add a title of this graph. So I can just do say ham versus so ham versus spam, right? And then I can do what? So we can do a legend also. You can add a legend. So legend may we can add say ham. The order should be fine. And then ham, and then I have say spam legend, and then yeah. So I think that should be fine. Let's just show it. So plt.show. Cool. So we have a beautiful looking graph here. So we have a title here, ham versus spam. We have the ham here. We have the spam here. So we can just always use this, right? So this is a very good information. So I can always extend this plot. So I can add many arguments in this. So I can make it more beautiful. The same graph I can add the percentages. I can add more things. So let me show it to you. Like for example, I think in the pie chart we have something called as explode. So if we use explode, say, and then we're going to do it say by say 0 and then say 0.1. Let's do it by 0.1. Let's see how the difference is. Can you see this? So now this pie got popped out, right? So I just added one more feature on this. So I just make it more the graph more beautiful, right? So I can always do that. I can add a shadow also on this. So maybe I can just add a shadow of true. So again, it's gonna add, it's gonna make a 3D. So it's like a 3D effect of my graph, right? So I can add a shadow. So I can always make it more interactive, right? So again, I can also add then the percentage, like if you want to add the actual value, the percentage of my calculations, I can always do that. So if I don't remember the argument for that. I think there's like auto, it's like it's not filling up, so it should be like auto percentage. So auto PCT, let's try to add that. Yeah, so we have a float value, so it should be percent of say 1 comma 1 dot 1 float percent. So I'll add that. Right, so it just added the percentage also, right? So 86.6% is my ham, 13.4% is my spam, right? So again, likewise guys, you can always make this graph very much interactive, so depending on your usage. So this is a very basic visualization which I've plotted, right? So this is how we get, so it's the entire process of my machine learning model. Yeah, Adnan, yes, we'll be doing the word cloud also. So we'll be plotting the word cloud very much. Okay, so so that's what we have. अच्छा, so now अब हम क्या कर सकते हैं, और एक आप देखते हैं डेटा सेट में क्या है. So ये तो हमें ham और spam का डेटा ना है. So अभी हम डेटा सेट या so डेटा सेट डॉट हेड देखते हैं और क्या है हमारे पास डेटा सेट में. अच्छा, हमारे पास लेंथ भी तो है. तो लेंथ में कुछ प्लॉट बनाते हैं. चलो क्या बनाओ प्लॉट में. लेंथ में हम कर सकते हैं, मे बी वी कैन प्लॉट अ हिस्टोग्राम ऑन लेंथ, है ना. सो मे बी वी कैन चेक how the lengths are distributed, how the pattern of these lengths are, right? So how the distribution of my length is. So let's do that. Why not? So I have data set, data set, and I have column called as length, right? So in this length, what I can do, so I can just do a plot of my so I can just add a bins here. So bins could be say 100. So let's do it say 100, and then I'm gonna put kind as hist. So I have to mention kind should be hist, right? So this is my basic thing. So again, I can add the title in also, like that is always possible. So I can add a plt dot title. I can do a title, say title क्या डालूं यार बताओ. Distribution of length or message length, है ना. ठीक है. सो ये हो गया मेरा टाइटल हो गया. आप आप क्योंकि यहाँ पे मेरे पास x एंड द y एक्सिस भी है तो आप x लेबल और y लेबल भी डाल सकते हो. So I can do plt.x label. X label में I can do say length. Then I can do plt dot y label, and then I can just do say what, so frequency, है ना. So I think this is fine. This is pretty much good. So let's try to plot this. Right. Okay. Figure size adjusted नहीं है. Let's try to add an argument of figure size. So we can reshape this. So we can add a figure size. So fig size, I think that's the one, right? So fig size should be equal to what? We can give क्या डाल सकते हैं यार? So I think 12,6 डालते हैं. Right. ठीक है. Cool. So अभी क्या दिख रहा है मुझे? The length दिख रहा है आपको. Major distribution जो है आपका 0 से लेकर के 200 तक है majorly, but spike is towards this area. So we have almost 700 plus frequency. So it's not a evenly distributed data anyway. So this is my distribution of my message lengths, right? So again, uh, okay, so we have a question here from Hemant. Do we have Spacey session also? Spacey का session अभी start नहीं करा हमने, so we haven't done that, Hemant. But again, I can take this as a feedback. If you want me to do that, we can have it separately. I mean, I can add it to our content. Why not? So, but we haven't done that as of now. ठीक है. So again, इसका कोई end नहीं है, right? So sorry. मैंने आपको क्या बोला, इसका कोई एंड नहीं है. सो विजुअलाइजेशन, डेटा एनालिसिस, एक्सप्लोरेटरी एनालिसिस का कोई एंड नहीं है. सो देयर इज नो एंड टू दैट, है ना. सो वी कैन ऑलवेज ट्राई टू लेट्स सी क्या हम इसमें कर सकते हैं. सो देयर इज नो एंड टू दैट, राइट. सो आई कैन जस्ट कीप ऑन एडिंग फ्यू मोर थिंग्स. सो विल सी दैट. बट अगेन कुछ और देखते हैं. सो आई थिंक एक चीज़ हमने और आई थिंक मिस कर दिया. जैसे हमने यहाँ पे एक आउटलायर देखा था 910, है ना. सो अभी 910 हैम के अंदर आ रहा है. तो 910 है क्या? एक बार ये भी तो फिगर आउट करते हैं कि 910 का कौन सा ऐसा मैसेज था जो इतना ज़्यादा लेंदी है. वी कैन ट्राई टू सी दैट. सो वी हैव अ डेटा सेट एंड देन वी हैव क्या यार, डेटा सेट में वी हैव अ लेंथ ना. लेंथ है बेसिकली यार. सो वी हैव लेंथ जहाँ पर है मेरे पास 910 if I'm not wrong, right? So this is my filter condition. So I'm gonna add it on top of my data set. And then from this I'm gonna just capture message. Okay, and then in this message I'm gonna just find out the ilog of say 0. Hey Swapnil, thank you so much yaar. I try to be as simpler as possible in my words and try to explain it as much as I can, right? But again, that's very much motivating. Yeah, thank you so much Swapnil for that. Cool. So now we are into 910 जहाँ पे word कहना यार. देखो इतना बड़ा मैसेज है. For the love should start with attraction. I should feel that I need her every time. I mean, blah 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 bullshit. Okay, so this is what we have. So this is the text which we have where it is the most number of characters, right? So it's like a heartfelt message by someone. Okay. Cool. So yeah, likewise, I mean, we can always find out कि क्या है क्या नहीं and all that, right? So and again, आप इसको अभी जैसे कि हमने इसमें क्या करा, हमने आपका इसमें total length में for all the messages करा ना, we can always do it for spam or the ham separately. That is also possible. इसमें totally कोई issue नहीं है. So जैसे कि for example, like what I can do is, so I have a function called as hist directly plot कर सकता हूँ. So data set ये भी दिखा देता हूँ आपको. data dot hist. So I have hist, and then in this hist I have for the column I want to plot it for length, right? And then length I'm gonna divide it by my label. So basically I want individual things, histograms for my label. So I'm gonna give, instead of bins 100, I'm gonna give a shorter range. So I'm gonna give 50 as bins, for example, because I gave 100 earlier. So I'm gonna give 50, and then again I can just always resize and all that. So let's do that. Let's see this. So yeah, I think I should need to resize this. So fig size, I'm gonna do it for say. So I have 3, so here it should be maybe 12 and 4. Right. So I have, so you can see this. So the it's a very good graph. You can see this in the ham and the spam. The length distribution is quite distinctive, right? So quite distinctive. You can see this with the graph itself. This is gonna be a very good feature for my model, for my machine learning model, right? So ham, the values are very much concentrated, while the spam is very much I mean, the range is quite high in ham, and spam is more concentrated in this region. So this is very interesting inferences, guys. So this is how we have to feel for our data. So you can, again, this whole inference part, right? So the explorative analysis is actually is never ending. Is like there's no limit to this, the EDA and the visualization. So you can just keep on plotting depending on your understanding of the data, right? So it's like a never-ending process. Cool. So again, let's stop here and then let's try to actually start working on the text now. So we have seen some of the things here, right? So now let's start our text processing. Let's do some text processing. So now we are actually starting the text process. So till now we are working on the data set, right? So I have a question here. Say hi. Can I ask, how do you feel about wanting to achieve your ambitions but no family support? Uh, okay. Okay. That's actually a good question, a deep question. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have personally not felt that, so I don't know whether my thing will actually help you or not, but I will still stick to what I have always felt, right? So it's always how you feel about yourself, right? So nobody can actually tell you how confident you are. It should be within you. It should be yourself to understand. It should be you who should be able to understand how confident you are, right? So if you're confident enough, I don't see a problem or a challenge in success anywhere, right? So trust me, you think that even with the family support, it's gonna be easier for you to succeed in life, right? There might be somebody else in your organization which gonna bully you for any political issues and all that. So there'll be a lot of things which you don't know, which you have not seen till date, right? So you might be seeing one problem till now. So I'm still saying that. So it's not about how you feel. Do not, I won't say, I will say that do not take it personally. It should be like more of your ambition which you want to achieve, which you really want to achieve, and at the same time to always feel proud of yourself, or always feel positive. So that is something which anybody else cannot take from you. That is something which you have yourself within, right? So be confident and be positive about yourself. So that's something which I would always say in that respect, right? Okay, Swapnil says, please make one video on deployment AWS GCP. Okay, yeah, we can do that. So we can take AWS and GCP as well. So yeah, why not? We can do that. So I'll take this as a feedback again, Swapnil. So maybe I'll try to add it to the next month's schedule. So we'll take that. Okay. चलो लेट्स स्टार्ट टेक्स्ट प्रोसेसिंग करते हैं. चलो अब टेक्स्ट प्रोसेसिंग में यार किसने किसने क्या क्या पढ़ा है मुझे बताओ. अभी हमने बहुत कुछ करा है, राइट? सो अभी हमने हमने क्या क्या पढ़ा है. हमने हमने टोकनाइजेशन पढ़ा है, हमने पंक्चुएशंस पढ़ा है, हमने क्या क्या पढ़ा है, हमने लेमेटाइजेशन, और क्या क्या नहीं पढ़ा यार. हमने बहुत सारी चीज़ें पढ़ी हैं, राइट? अब इसमें हम क्या कर सकते हैं. हमें मतलब बेसिकली अब आप खुद बताओ हमें क्या करना चाहिए इसमें. अब जस्ट ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट कि हमें क्या क्या करना चाहिए, है ना? तो सबसे पहले हम क्या करते हैं. सो अब जैसे इवन बिफोर माय टोकनाइजेशन वी कैन ट्राई टू रिमूव सम ऑफ द अनवांटेड, बिकॉज स्टॉप वर्ड्स. अब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आप अगर टोकन्स भी बनाते हो, सो टोकन्स बनाने से पहले अगर सबके पास अगर स्टॉप वर्ड्स है या फिर आपके पास पंक्चुएशंस है, दैट विल क्रिएट सम अननेसेसरी प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट? सो यू हैव टू जस्ट कीप ऑन एडिंग योर yeah, exactly, Hemant, very good. Lemmatization, remove stop words, punctuations. So ये जो basic चीजें हैं ना, we can always keep on doing that, right? So we can just keep on doing that. So हमें क्या क्या करना है? So अभी हम list बना लेते हैं. So अभी हमने हमने क्या क्या करना है? अभी हम punctuation कर सकते हैं. Punctuations का check कर सकते हैं, है ना? And then we can remove the stop words, है ना? We can do this. We can remove the stop words. लेमेटाइजेशन अभी नहीं करेंगे, लेमेटाइजेशन बिकॉज इट्स अ सिमेंटिक एनालिसिस, राइट. सो वो टोकनाइजेशन के बाद करेंगे, बिकॉज लेमेटाइजेशन आप टोकनाइजेशन पहले नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज लेमेटाइजेशन का इनपुट हमेशा टोकन्स होता है, राइट. सो वी विल नॉट बी डूइंग टोकनाइजेशन बिफोर लेमेटाइजेशन बिफोर टोकन्स. सो that will happen after that. So I'm just thinking about before tokens. So I'm just gonna make my tokenization process a bit easier. So that's what I'm trying to do. ठीक है. सो अभी अभी हम क्या क्या करेंगे यार. सो अभी हम बेसिकली सिंपल चीज़ें करते हैं. सो अभी हम ये रिमूव करते हैं. सो एक फंक्शन बना देते हैं. सो लेट्स मेक अ फंक्शन. सो एंड देन आई एम गोना कॉल दिस फंक्शन ऑन टॉप ऑफ माय एंटायर डेटा. लेट्स सी हाउ डज इट लुक. सो आई एम गोना कॉल दिस लाइक से प्री process, I mean, so whatever, so pre-process text, for example, right. So I'm gonna write this function name as pre-process text, and here I'm gonna call this as a message. So basically my message will be going here, right. So I'm gonna write the, so always have a practice of writing the meaning of my sorry, just a minute. So yeah, so just a practice of having the note for the function. So what this function is doing, so we have like, so it takes a string message string and returns the clean text. Okay, so that's what it does, right. So here what all we are doing, so we are removing punctuation. We are trying to do here in this, it's gonna say remove stop words. So it's gonna remove stop words, and then say return the clean message. Cool, that's what it's going to do. Cool, so that's what I have it here. Cool, so that's what my the function will do. So let's try to understand what all we have. So we have already imported the function call as the library call as string, right. So in the string, I think we have imported the string here, right. Yeah, so we have string. In the string we have the function called as punctuation. So we can just call the string dot punctuations on top of my message, and then we can remove it. So we have a question here. Let's see that. All the removing stop words is a standard step, but for something like this, can't stop words can always in the semantic. Yeah, obviously, are very good observation, Adnan. Very good. So yeah, as I've always said that. So depending on your the usage, right. So this thing can always change. So as I've always said, even the stop words removal, the standard stop words library which we have, right. So it's not necessary that we always need that. So you can always modify it depending on your usage. So that is totally customizable. So you actually don't need it always. But I'm just trying to follow the basic thing we have. Right. Absolutely. So exclamation marks and all that. Yes, absolutely. Cool. So अभी क्या करते हैं? So basic, I'm just trying to add up a thing. So what all we can do? We can always customize this entire stop words का thing, which you already know it. But again, just trying to use whatever we have for now. Okay. Cool. So now what all we have? So here I'm gonna call for all the functions whatever we have. So I have to remove it. So I'm just gonna call our data call is say no punctuations. So no punctuations is gonna be a list of words, which is basically cleaned from my I would say the punctuations, right. So basically I can say that for character for character in, so this character should be in message, and here if char not in, basically string dot punctuation. Cool. So this is going to return me the message which is excluding my the punctuation. Simple sentence. मैंने कुछ नहीं करा. Simple मैंने list apprehension लगाया इसके अंदर, right. So simple. So I'm gonna create a list of words which is being removed from the string punctuation. So simple, nothing fancy here, right. So I'm gonna remove the punctuations. So now again, so this is a list of words. So list of words है basically now अब इसको मेरे को एक sentence, it's a list of words here, right. So I have to convert this list of words into sentences, right. So वो कैसे कर सकते हैं? So again I'm gonna write this no punctuation as my sentence. So basically this sentence would be what? So this dot join, and I'm gonna call my no punctuation here. So I'm now again from this list, I'm converting into a sentence. Okay, so now again I've just taken the sentence of it, right? So for the safer side, let's convert it into a lowercase, right? So no, let's copy it here. No punk dot lower. Cool. So I have done this. This is basically for my punctuations ka removal. Okay, I have done this here. This is done. Now second part, stop words. Again, so this no punk basically is doing my lower of my word, right? So up is for this stop words, basically for stop words, input is basically my no punk, right? So I'm gonna pass no punk on top of my stop word. Space डाल सकते हैं. It's gonna be a sentence again. I'm not gonna use that, so I'm gonna use it anyway as a single sentences. So space is also fine. I'm gonna anyway call it as my character, so that's fine. So even that is fine. That should not be an issue. Yeah, I mean technically you're right. So let's keep it as a join, as a space actually. Yeah. So they'll create a single sentence. Yeah, absolutely. Very well pointed out, Hemant. You're right. Cool. ठीक है. So अभी हमारे पास क्या है? चलो सो अभी हम क्या करते हैं, स्टॉप वर्ड्स को निकालते हैं. स्टॉप वर्ड्स अगेन क्या है? स्टॉप वर्ड्स के लिए बेसिकली हमें हर एक इसमें वर्ड्स को लेना पड़ेगा, राइट? सो बेसिकली वी कैन डू अ स्प्लिट. सो स्प्लिट ऑफ माय नो पंक्चुएशन वर्ड्स, एंड देन फ्रॉम दैट नो पंक्चुएशन आई कैन रिमूव क्या कहते हैं बेसिकली माय द स्टॉप वर्ड्स, राइट? सो स्टॉप वर्ड्स कैसे देखते हैं? Stop words क्या है? So I think I've already imported the module stop words, right? So I might have, yeah, stop words. Cool. So stop words I've already imported. So stop words कैसे देखते हैं? Stop words, so क्या गया? So I think we have already done that. So stop words dot words, I think, and then words, and then I have to define which language is gonna be English, right? So if I have this, I'm gonna call it here. So it's like this. So right. So this is my list of my stop words for English, right? So just I'm gonna say that for all of my words in no punk, that should not be part of my stop words. Cool. This is what I want to do, right? So no stop here. So look for no stop. So in this, for no stop, for say word in, no, sorry, my word. Word for word in my no punk dot split, right? And the split I'm gonna give a space, right? And if this word dot lower not in what? Stop words dot English. Cool. So not in stop words dot English. So this is fine. This is what we want to do. We have no stop here. This is my removal done. So this is basically my basic removal of my stop words, very single line implementation. And now at the end, I'm going to return this no stop. Cool. I have just created a very simple function, guys, which is doing two major things for me. It is cleaning the punctuation. It is also cleaning the stop words. Cool. So let's try to do something else. So now what will we have? We have done this. So let's try to implement this. So now we have the spam. No. So we have the. Now let's do that. So let's try to do it individually for spam messages and the ham messages. So we can create. So we have the messages, right? So we can create a spam message separately. So we have a spam message. So we're gonna have it spam message for my data set, and I'm gonna have my message, right? So message, sorry, I want to filter it for my label, right? So label, where the label should be say spam, right? So I'm gonna call it on top of my data set. Oh my bad. I'm gonna call it on top of my data set, right? And then from this I'm gonna call the messages. Message. Cool. So now likewise I'm gonna create it for ham also. Right, so let's create a ham message like separately, and here the label is say ham. I'm gonna create it separately ham, right? And then I'm gonna have it for separate of my individual messages. So right, so now let's apply the punctuation, the basically my function on top of my individual text processing. So maybe let's apply text process on on collections individually. Cool. So now here in this case, what I'm going to do is spam underscore message. I'm gonna apply. I'm gonna so basically it's gonna be the spam words. Basically, spam words is gonna be my text. So here, so I'm gonna apply this pre-processed text. I'm gonna call it over my spam message. So I'm gonna run this first. Okay, my bad. Cool. So I'm gonna call it over spam message. So now spam words. This might I think take some while. So we have spam words, and then we have the pre-processed text available. So let's see if it is if it will run. So we'll have the list of all of my words available, and then maybe on top of this word we can do the word cloud, right? So we can always plot the word cloud on top of my available. So let's see the spam words now. So we have the spam words. So these are my spam words. So you can see I have all the spams. Some random spam messages are also coming up. So we can free this up. So we have the spam messages, right? So we can always take some things to see. So maybe we can just do some indexing. So maybe like this. So I can just find out. So some words. So all of my spam words are coming here. I think we have two more questions. So Adnan says no, putting a space would create a space between each character. नहीं यार, Adnan हुआ तो space basically हमने अगर space डाला, so it is actually I mean creating different words separately. So otherwise it would have created one single word. So I think Hemant was right there. Right. So and Puneet says why companies don't prefer freshers for data science related roles. So, I mean Puneet, it's not like that. So depending on the job scale, job stage you are entering basically. So for yeah, I mean technically data science is all about experience, right? So as I said, so with experience you actually learn what things to apply, what not to apply, because there are a lot of techniques available, right? So because we spent almost like 5-6 days to learn the techniques, right? But now when to apply what, that's where the experience comes, right? So with more practice you can be better, but for now I would say that yeah, I mean that's how it is. Yeah, so it's not like they won't prefer, depending on the role that you are actually entering into. Yeah, so there'll be lesser opportunities for fresh, but it's not like there's no opportunity. So for you to get into a job, you anyway need one single job, right? So do not worry about all these things. So yeah, so I have just applied the pre-processing on my spam message. So I have the list of the spam words here, right? So we can do the word cloud now, right? So we can always do the word cloud. So let's do that. So let's do a spam cloud. So let's make a spam word cloud. So let's do a spam word cloud. So I'm gonna make a spam word cloud. Okay. So I have imported the word cloud, right? So I think I should have. Yeah, so I have imported the word cloud. Let's call this word cloud. Okay, so I have it here. So I'm gonna call the word cloud. I'm gonna define certain width and the height. So say width, maybe say what 600, right? And then I'm gonna do width, and then say height. So height should be say square 400 कर लेते हैं, so not very too much. So and then I'm gonna do what, generate. So I'm gonna generate the word. So basically in this case I'm gonna how can I do that? So again I have to, yeah, so I have to again join the words dot join the spam words basically. So that's gonna be the word cloud. So I'm gonna do it like join.spam words. So this is gonna be my spam word cloud, right? So I'm gonna, again, for the spam word cloud, I'm gonna create a figure. So I'm gonna do a figure here. So figure, again, I'm gonna do a fig size, right? So fig size, again, I'm gonna give, say, maybe say 10,8, right? And then I'm gonna give what, just let it be. And then I'm gonna do plt dot im show. I'm gonna show the word cloud here. It's gonna be an image show, so I'm gonna do that im show. And then what can I do? So yeah, let's see, it should be working fine. So let's do plt dot show. Okay, so I think this will take some time, but it should show. Yeah. Okay, so axes are coming, so I think we have to remove the axis just a minute. So plt dot axis, I can just do off, it should work. Yeah, so it has just reduced the axis and whatnot. So I think some interesting words are coming out. And then we can also add some padding also on top of that. Right, so my bad, I actually forgot to do a joining on top of the space. Right, so you can see this. I can add certain colors also on top of this. I can do a face color. Maybe I can do a I can do just a layout. So maybe a tight layout here. So plt dot tight underscore layout, and then tight layout. I can do a padding of 0. Do that. So yeah. So cool. Again, guys, you can always just keep on calling it, right? So can you see this? I've just created a word cloud, and you have something very interesting word cloud of spam. Can you see this? Free is the one of the most popular word. Free, call, text, txt. Can you see this? Very, claim, new, stop, customer service, contact, mobile. So these are some very interesting, very commonly used spam messages, which is being formed up in your word cloud. Visible, guys, right? So pretty much visible. So meanwhile, people are following up. Let's a quick question. So hey, Arpit, this data engineer can do things like data modeling. Just curious about it. Yeah, why not? Why not, Hemant? Absolutely, yes. See, but again, the roles and responsibility of data engineer is actually pretty much limited towards the data model deployments, right? So the data engineers are the people who are working on the infra side of data science, basically, right? So that's where your cloud services, that's where your deployments, Kafka, big data, Spark, Hive, Hadoop, these all microservices, these all come Dockers and all that, right? But again, I mean, being out of curiosity, being out of interest, you can always do anything, right? I mean, I'm always I've always been a data scientist, but trust me, I had my sheer interest in deployments. So I'm an architect actually. So I work in both the areas. So I'm equally good in engineering aspects as well, right? So that's basically how I started my journey. But now, again, so my role was limited to data science part, but I had my interest in that, so I jumped into that direction. Now I'm an architect, so I work in both the directions. I'm more of a full stack developer in data science, right? So that's basically how you can always pitch in as your work. But if we talk about the R&R, the roles and responsibilities, so might be the data engineers would be limited towards your the architectural parts, right? So but again, out of interest, you can always talk to your leaders and start exploring on modeling. Why not, if you have an interest and knowledge also, right? So Puneet says, after so many years of experience, do you still have to research for different kind of models with respect to their trade-offs? Yes, absolutely, Puneet. It's an everyday learning. It's an everyday learning. And it's not like I know everything. I mean, if anybody is saying that they know everything, I don't agree to that. You cannot know everything. I mean, even I'm learning every other day. Data science isn't still, I would say, evolving field, right? So there are a lot of researches going on. I won't say every day, but every fortnight, I would say definitely there is something new coming up, right? And if I don't upgrade to that, I mean, I'll gonna be obsolete in some point of time, right? And that's pretty much valid for any field you work in, right? It's not only for data science; it's valid for everything, every field, right? If you're a Java developer, do you think that you can just stick with J2E development for say 10 years? No, you have to upgrade yourself, right? That's what it is in data science also. So do not, I would say, more of uh, overcomplicate things. It's a very normal. It's common. It's normal for every other thing. It's like in data science we have to explore the models, right? So yeah, in some data something will work. Some in some data something won't work. So you have to always figure out that, right? Yes, Swapnil, I did my masters also. Cool. Great. So I think ये समझ में आ रहा है आपको, right? So हमने हमने word cloud बनाया, basic word cloud के generate कर दिया on the spam words, right? So likewise, I'll just gonna copy paste for my uh, for ham also. I think ham को तो हमने बनाया ही नहीं है अब तक, right? So okay, ham को तो अब तक बनाया ही नहीं हमने. My bad. Just a minute. So I'm just gonna call it on top of my ham messages also. है ना? So it's gonna be the ham words. So and then I'm gonna do a ham message here. So ham message हो गया, and then ham message में let's try to see what all we have. So ham words का भी हम बना सकते हैं, क्यों नहीं, बिल्कुल बना सकते हैं. So I've just copy pasted the code, let it run, and then meanwhile I'm gonna upgrade this. So it's gonna be the ham words, and it's gonna be ham words cloud. My bad. So ham word cloud, right? So I'm gonna show it here. Should be Hamword cloud, and yeah, so let's plot it for Hamword. This will take some time. Meanwhile, it's running, so we can think of what we can do. So yeah, so we can try to find out. So let's to see what we have. So meanwhile is more क्या कर सकते हैं. So now we have seen that the free call text and all that, these are coming on the major numbers, right? So we can always try to recompare it with the numbers, right? So we can always do that. So what are we going to do? Again, we can just do on adding the value counts, right? So we have this word, this text of words. I mean the list of words we have, right? So what we can do? So pd dot series maybe. So series may we have the spam words. We have the spam words, right? So what is the spelling I used here? So we have the spam words here. So I'm going to use the spam words, right? And the spam words, I can just do a value count dot value count, right? I'm just call it from series. So this and then I'm just gonna do a head of say 10, right? So I'm gonna call it under of that. So and then I'm gonna print the entire thing. Let's see how does it look like. Yeah, sure. Value underscore counts. क्या हो गया? Yeah. Cool. So now can you see this? Call got repeated 342 times. So this is the most prominent word, call. And then I have free 180 times. Then I have two. Interesting. And then I have your 144. Text, you, text, mobile 109, right? So all of these things which is part of your most prominently words are coming up here, right? So that's basically how my word cloud works. Yeah, absolutely, Pramod. Very well said. So when you're working as a developer, right? So be it any field, it's valid for all the fields. Like we're using multiple technologies, and we have to always upgrade ourselves, right? So we cannot just sit idle on top of that. Right, so likewise I've created a word cloud for ham also, so we can just validate that on the ham part, and then how the ham thing is coming up. Cool. So now in the ham we have what also? We have okay, we have time, we have love, we have day, gt, you, go, got, come, tell, no, sorry, right? So all of these interesting most frequent words for my ham are also coming up here, right? So all are coming up on my larynx part, so on my word cloud. Cool. कोई doubt है इसमें guys? Anybody has any doubt in this? I think ये यहाँ तक जो आपने करा ना अभी तक, whatever we have done so far, so this is basically my understanding of my I'm just trying to do the basic text processing of my data. अभी तक हमने एक्चुअली में कुछ भी नहीं करा है, हमने सिंपल चीज़ें ही करी है, राइट? अब हम सेम चीज़ जो है, अब जो हमने यहाँ पे वर्ड प्लॉट्स करा है, let's try to transform my data actually. So now I have the original data, right? So which is something else, which is a data frame. So I'm going to transform the original data frame, okay? So now I'm going to actually transform the original data frame, right? So in this data frame, I have what? So I have the data set. So now I'm just coming back to data set now. So I have this data set, I have the label, I have the message, I have the length. So this data set is still not processed, right? So this data set is still same. I have not processed it. I've just captured for ham and spam, and then I was seeing that. But now let's try to change this data now. So I have this column called as message, right? And then I'm going to apply what? So I'm going to apply so this text processing on top of this message, and then I'm going to apply what is the function name? Yeah, pre-processed text. I'm going to just call it here. So I'm going to apply text process. So this might take some time. So we have now converted the original data set. So I'm just coming back to the data set perspective. Okay, so I have a question. Puneet says, thank you for all the lectures. I recently developed interest in NLP when I was learning about open semantic search for a particular task, and the way you explain this in layman terms. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Puneet, that's what I have learned, right? So even I was a student in some point of time, right? And I always realized that if I keep on talking about some fancy terms, right, you always get confused, right? So I try to make it as simple as possible. In fact, the questions also which we solve, right? So I'll try to break it to as simpler level as I can, and then this is how I believe at the learning stage you should be learning. So to break up things and learn. So that's how I try to do. But thank you so much for praising that, Puneet. Right, guys. So again, the objective here is I'm actually converting the entire data now. You know? So I'm entire data, and I'm trying to see how exactly so the things are coming up. So let's see. It's gonna process my data, and then let's see how the clean data would come. Cool. So I think with this we don't have we have a lot of things. So we have lemmatization to be performed, right? So we have the words. So we have the bag of words. So we can apply the bag of words, maybe certain vocabulary bag of words, more of and we can apply part of speeches, my transformations, and at the end we're going to do the vectorization. So a lot of things still I could see a scope of which we can implement. So let's see. I think it's almost 1.5 hours. So if you guys are okay, I can still continue with this. But I think if you want, we can continue tomorrow also. It's almost 1.5 hours. So maybe people will start. Maybe they won't be having an interest in continuing. But it's almost 1.5 hours of lecture. So do you guys want me to continue, or shall we take it tomorrow? I'm okay with anything. So maybe what we can do is maybe we can continue. Yeah, so we have done quite a lot of good things here. So we can continue maybe from here on. So now we are coming back. So we have analyzed the data. So we have seen a lot of things. So we've created the function for text processing, right? So maybe we can start from this part onwards tomorrow. So we can start on the transformation part. So on the data processing and all that. So I think let's do that, right? So okay, guys. So I think let's wrap up for today. So we already see a lot of people moving out. So let's see each other tomorrow at the same time, so 10 p.m. So I'm going to continue with this natural language processing live demo. So in fact, I'll try to add the machine learning part at the end also. So we'll try to develop a classification model on top of this thing. Okay. So let's do this, guys. So I think it's anyway this function processing will take some time, so let it run. So meanwhile, let's connect each other tomorrow again at the same time, 10 p.m. So that's where I'm gonna finish the rest of the part of my NLP demo, right? So let's take that. Cool. So thank you so much, guys. If anybody has any last moment questions, please shoot over so we can take up that, or else we can just wind up and we can see each other tomorrow at the same time, 10 p.m. for the next part. Cool. So with this, guys, let's wrap up. I'm gonna meet again. We're gonna meet again tomorrow at the same time, 10 p.m. So we're gonna continue from here on. Great. Thank you so much, guys. So it's already a bit late. So let's see each other tomorrow. Great. Thank you so much, Hemant, and thank you so much for joining in. And let's see each other tomorrow again. So I'm gonna finish what we started today. Great. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, so I think we have one more question, Swapnil. So what does ML engineer do? So ML engineer, yaar, dekho, again, it's more of, I would say, misclassified designation, okay? So do not get confused by multiple designations you have. So the designations might vary from company to company. So there are broadly three categories of job in data science, okay? The first is a data analyst jobs. Second is data scientist kind of a job. The third is data engineer kind of a job, okay? So I'll tell you the description of my roles. Okay, so you can always try to read out your job description and try to understand which category you fall in. Do not go with the designations. Okay, designations are the companies have their own designations, so the designations might vary. So the first category of job is data analyst, where you are working mainly on the data. So like taking out the data, doing some number crunching, analyzing your statistical analysis of your data, presentation of your data, and all that, right? So all the number crunching work, like from gathering till statistical analysis till presentation, is what the data analyst does. Okay, so the popular designations here are analyst, data analyst, business analyst, data consultant, BI consultant. So all of these are very commonly used designations for this category of job. Okay. The second is data scientist. So data scientist, where they are doing everything what a data analyst does plus machine learning. Okay, so they're building ML models on top of ML or AI models on top of the data analysis. Okay, so that's what data scientist does. The third is the data engineers. Okay, so they are not related to any modeling part, so they don't care what model is being built. So they are taking care of the infrastructure. They are the DevOps guy of data science. Okay, so they are basically taking care of the infra like microservices, Dockers, your cloud services, message brokers, APIs, REST calls, and all that. So all the infra productionization of my deployments of my codes. That's what the engineer does. So these are the broad categories of job. Okay, so I hope I answered the question. ओके अमित का एक क्वेश्चन है सर, क्या डेटा साइंटिस्ट में मैथ बहुत स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए? यार देखो, एवरीथिंग इन डेटा साइंस इज बेस्ड ऑन स्टैट्स, इज बेस्ड ऑन नंबर्स, है ना? सो इज बेस्ड ऑन नंबर्स. सो नंबर्स नंबर्स बेसिकली क्या है? वो सब स्टैटिस्टिक्स पे बेस्ड है, राइट? सो अगर आपको कोई भी एल्गोरिदम पढ़ना है फॉर एनी स्टैटिस्टिकल टेक्निक और फॉर एनी मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल, उन सब का कोर बेस जो है वो is relying on stats, and stat is purely working on numbers, right? Yes, if you ask me कि क्या हमें मैथ स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, आई वुड से मैथ स्पेसिफिकली क्या मतलब, आई वुड से स्टैटिस्टिक्स स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, डेफिनेटली नंबर्स आना चाहिए आपको, राइट? सो फॉर एनी machine learning or for any statistical, for any concept in data science, right, everything is lying on stats. So and stat is purely a number, so basically maths, right? So yes, to answer your question, yes, बहुत स्ट्रांग का कोई डेफिनेशन नहीं होता है. सो आई मीन फॉर मी, मेरा बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग का डेफिनेशन कुछ और होगा, आपके बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग का डेफिनेशन कुछ और होगा. ये रिलेटिव वर्ड्स हैं, राइट? यस, मैं इतना बोल सकता हूँ कि हाँ मैथ आना चाहिए, राइट? इट्स नॉट लाइक अगर आप एकदम ही बेवकूफ़ हो गए, आपको कुछ पता ही नहीं स्टैट्स में क्या होता है, तो आप नहीं कर सकते हो. यू कैन नॉट जस्ट डायरेक्टली जंप इनटू द एल्गोरिथम्स, राइट? यस, तो बेस स्ट्रॉन्ग करना जरूरी है फॉर एनी डेटा साइंस. स्टैटिस्टिक्स इज योर बेस फॉर एवरीथिंग, है ना? सो बेस स्टैट्स, एडवांस स्टैट्स आपको आना चाहिए. Cool. Any other last moment questions, guys? चलो ठीक है. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna give your evening back. So we're gonna continue tomorrow, same time, 10 p.m. The next part of our demo. So let's meet each other again tomorrow at the same time, 10 p.m. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for a wonderful audience, and thank you so much for asking the good questions. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, I think we have one more question, Amit. Okay, so let me take that. So, B.Tech course में जितना statistics है, अगर उतना आए तो क्या हम का सकते हैं डेटा साइंस? ओके ओके, सो बेसिकली आप बोलना चाह रहे हो कि आपने जो बीटेक में डेटा साइंस में स्टार्ट्स पढ़ा है, सो दैट इज एनफ. सो आई वुड से नहीं. I don't know. I don't know what you were taught in BTech in stats. So here stats basically mean median mode पे खत्म नहीं होता. Standard deviation variance इतना statistics नहीं है. Statistics against में बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. Like you talk about hypothesis testing, right? So I'm not sure if you know that. So for that I would request आप एक बार प्रॉपर डेटा साइंस स्टैट्स के कोर्स कंटेंट को पढ़िए. यू कैन गो टू गूगल एंड ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट अ प्रॉपर कोर्स कंटेंट ऑफ डेटा साइंस ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स. सो बेस एंड एडवांस स्टैट्स में बहुत सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट्स इन स्टैट्स. सो जनरल लोगों को ये समझ में आता है कि स्टैटिस्टिक्स का मतलब मीन मीडियन मोड है, स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन है, वेरिएंस है. नहीं, दिस आर नथिंग. दिस आर लाइक पीनट्स. ओके, इसके ऊपर देयर आर लाइक एन नंबर ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट विच इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वेरी गुड, है ना. सो look forward to the content or the course content from any of the stats module or advanced stats module. You know, you can always do that. Absolutely, Eman. Thank you so much for putting up that. So yeah, you can always do that. So that's I mean, I cannot take any respective names here, but yeah, that's actually a good. Great, Amit. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope I was able to help you in some sort. And thank you, Hemant. Thank you, other people also for being part of our chat today. So looking forward to see you again the same time tomorrow, 10 p.m. So we're gonna continue from whatever we have discussed today. Okay. Cool. Great. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good evening ahead. Happy learning. Let's see each again tomorrow, same time, 10 p.m. Bye bye.